Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about understanding that to play the long game in strength, you really do need to focus on hypertrophy. And again, for some reason, this seems to be a controversial topic that was not controversial, a long time ago. It's just that because of the divergence in different parts of the iron game of things between powerlifting, bodybuilding, other stuff, a lot of people seem to have lost sight of the fact that muscle mass really is the key to gaining strength over the long term. And it's not that NeuroDrive and all these things don't matter, they do. They are important, but they're a smaller component in the grand scheme of things. And it's also an issue of what am I looking for? Safety, right? Keeping injuries lower, all these other things. And here's the thing to think about with that. The time that we spend focused upon building new tissue, and keep in mind, this is not for noobs. Noobs can do a bunch of 5 to 8 rep stuff. Their size and their strength will maximize, for the first year, right? There's no need to even separate these things in any meaningful capacity. They just work on progressive overload with some basic movements, 5 to 8 reps. They'll get big, they'll get strong. Anything deviating from that is probably not going to improve either one. There's no separation really. There really isn't. As we get a little more advanced, things like NeuroDrive matter more. Yes, it becomes hard to gain muscle off really low rep sets, just due to things like stimulus to fatigue. But as we get more advanced, what happens with these things is it's things like loads on tendon, loads on joints. In other words, a small amount of really, really heavy work actually isn't a problem there. So you'll see people will make the argument, in the hypertrophy camp or the bodybuilding type camp, whatever you want to call it, even though they're not competing in bodybuilding. They don't really need to be that obsessed with optimizing everything to that degree. But, that aside, they have this idea, well, if that's the case, I shouldn't do any heavy work. Well, no, heavy work in small amounts is not really dangerous. It really isn't. Okay, it's when we start doing very large volumes of it, when it becomes the entire focus of your training, yes, injury rates can go up. Yes, there can be tendon problems. Yes, we deal with inflammation, other things. And that's the problem with the long game, with focusing entirely on that. Just your injury risks tend to be higher. You get more beat up. And beyond the amount of NeuroDrive we get and the technique skill, you're not gaining any benefit to a lot of those things outside of the hypertrophy that they add. So what I'm suggesting is that a lot of your time that people would spend doing just really heavy squats and really heavy benching, if they took most of that time and put it towards accessories that are building muscle, they're going to gain just as much strength in the long term. Now, it's not quite as short because they're not getting that quicker NeuroDrive, right? They're not getting all of that immediate. But when we start extrapolating it out over time, as that new tissue accumulates, they're going to be able to get bigger. They're going to have better body composition. They're going to have more lean tissue, okay? And they're going to do so with less inflammation in the tendons, being less beat up, because they can recover better, because they're not just beating themselves into the ground all the time, okay? They're not just beating themselves into the ground. What happens on the other end, though, is that people will say, well, I don't want to deal with any of that. But it's like, yeah, but you're really shortchanging yourself from being strong, and there's no negatives. There really isn't to doing a small amount. So even people who are pursuing, physique type gains, I would suggest to them that getting stronger is actually going to be a benefit to you, particularly for the people who are not enhanced. Like if you want to be strong as a drug-free lifter, you should probably get pretty jacked. And if you want to get jacked as a drug-free lifter, you should probably get stronger. That higher mechanical tension, that NeuroDrive that you get from doing some heavy work is going to translate into better myofibrillar growth. It's going to translate into a lot of benefits for you. Even those who just want to get jacked, right? Even those who just want to get jacked. But I digress. Back over to the other end. By us focusing, for those who want to get strong, on just getting more jacked, we get less beat up. We can train more, we can stimulate more growth, over the course of a year or 2 years, because we can handle more recoverable volume as a result of saying, hey, instead of everything looking at what's the best carryover immediately to my maxes with just the heavy weight, heavy assistance, heavy primary lifts, we put more focus on accessories, more focus on volume that we can recover from, looking at movement and saying, well, it's just going to get me thicker in the right places to get stronger without beating me up. Could I do this smaller movement here? Can I do these 10 or 12 rep sets on a machine over here? Okay, because if we're already squatting, benching, and deadlifting heavy, like our other stuff's covered, right? A lot of what we're trying to do is covered. Particularly, we start throwing in a few more structural movements, like good mornings example, something I love to do. We start adding some of this stuff in. We're getting plenty of standing exercise. We're getting plenty of big movements that, build stability, train you to use your whole body. We're getting all of that already. You come in and put your focus on that into just getting really jacked, it's going to let you get stronger in the long term, because that new tissue always raises your strength ceiling. Number two, your injury rates are lower because your tendons and things tend to be a little healthier. We're not as beat up. We're recovering easier. We're getting less overuse. Okay? So putting all that extra focus, beyond that small amount of work that we need on our really heavy stuff and to learn our skills, if we put it all in the other direction, you're going to last a lot longer. You're going to get stronger in the long term. And that's really the name of the game here. Right? It really is the name of the game, building lean tissue. It's going to keep you in the game longer. And I'm saying this as someone, you guys just watched me in this video. I'm 46 years old in this video. You just watched me do 6 clean pause reps with 315 on the bench. Okay? I'm almost 50 years old. And I'm doing that without pain, without injuries. And I'm trying to get stronger. I'm trying to get a lot stronger than that still. But the focus is on muscle mass. And that's what I'm telling you guys. It'll keep you in the game longer. Let most of your work be towards just getting jacked. Do your heavy work. Take your heavy work seriously. Take it dead serious. Because if we want to be strong, we have to do it. And it's fun. Lifting heavy weights is fun. We all know that. It's good for our ego. It's fun. It's impressive. But you don't need that much of it to really get strong. Put all your other efforts into just getting jacked. Just get as cock diesel as possible. You'll last longer. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.